My name is Solomon Folk, and I'm a licensed alcohol and drug abuse counselor, and I do intensive outpatient groups for addiction and individual therapy and assessments. Today, the topic that I'm going to be discussing is about depression, but the approach to depression that we're going to discuss is disarming depression and attacking depression. And so the first part of disarming depression is really about the meaning of depression, because there's so many different reasons why people are depressed. And it could be extreme grief, it could be abandonment, it could be just abuse, neglect, it could be chemical imbalances, it could be side effects to medication, it could be withdrawal from drugs and alcohol. There's a lot of different reasons why people feel depression. The other hard part of depression is it's called the catch-22 of depression. And the catch-22 of depression is that the hardest things to do are the things that you need to do the most to battle depression. And so with that in mind, if we try to attack the meaning of depression, then it's not going to work, because there's too much going on, in those moments with memories, with chemical imbalances, with grief, with unresolved issues. There's too much. So we have to disarm depression from the meaning of depression, and we have to attack depression in a way that we can win that fight. So how do we do that? There's 3 different ways that we can attack depression, and have a more probable outcome of being effective and successful when we fight it. The first way to fight depression is to make it physical, and see the buildup of depression as an opportunity to address physical symptoms. So for instance, if I'm starting to feel depressed and I notice what's going on with my body, when I'm depressed, I may have like nausea, or I might have a headache, or I might, have cramps in my legs, or, any of those things that are physical. Noticing the physical buildup of depression before it gets to a severe point, and then responding to those physical things. So if I have a headache, put in a cold towel on my head and maybe drinking some water because I need to hydrate. So now when you deal with depression on a physical level, when it's building up, there's a more probable outcome of being successful. If I have nausea and my depression is building, then I'm gonna eat some crackers and cheese and drink some ginger ale or some Sprite. Be able to attack what you can instead of attacking the meaning of the grief or the trauma and all the things that really just trigger more depression. So the physical aspect of depression and the buildup of depression is noticing what's going on physically with your body, and then being able to respond to comfort that physical symptom, whatever the physical symptom is, whether it's nausea, a headache. If there's tension in your shoulders, then you relax your shoulders, you do a massage, or you move them, or you stretch, whatever you need to do. The other piece that we can attack is behaviorally. And so when we attack depression behaviorally, the physical and the behavioral identification is to notice when depression is building. When depression gets to a 10, we're all SOL. That's what we are. There's no, it's too extreme to deal with when it gets to that 9 or a 10. So we have to catch depression at like a 1, 2, or a 3 as it's building with these physical and these behavioral symptomology. And so some of the behavioral symptoms that exist is like maybe you stop eating, you miss a meal, or you miss an appointment, or you stop taking showers, or you sleep in and you don't go to work, you call into work, or you isolate, maybe you're not showing up for appointments or going to family functions, or the isolation starts to come in. So the behavioral response that we want to attack with depression is to do what we call opposite action. So if there's a behavioral response and I'm isolating, I need to connect. If there's a behavioral response and I'm not going to work, I need to get myself to work. If there's a behavioral response and I'm missing meals, I need to make sure I eat my meals. If there's a behavioral response and I'm not showing up to a family function, I need to go to my family functions. Again, the catch-22 of depression is the hardest things to do are the things we need to do the most to combat and fight depression. And you have to make a choice. You're going to fight depression, or are you going to let depression kick your ass today? Because you got 2 choices, one or the other. There is no other way. So once you break down the physical and the behavioral and the buildup, Now we can attack those things, and we're going to have more opportunity to be successful in what we're doing instead of trying to fix something in the past that can't be fixed. You know, because I always tell people I ain't got a time machine and I can't go to the past and fix the things that happened to me or that I did or didn't do, you know, in those ways. And if anybody ever creates a time machine, I always tell them, you better come pick me up because I got some stuff I want to do, but it don't happen. So we got to be realistic, and we can't go to the past and change those things. So we got to deal with it behaviorally, and we got to deal with it physically. The last part that we can attack depression is chemically. You know, depression is a inhibitory neurotransmitter chemical release in your brain, and your brain always has a balance of energy and sedation. And so if you don't know what the source of your sedation and your relaxation and your calmness is, then depression could be that source as a response to side effects of medication or anything that you're going through. If you're going too fast and you're stressed out and your body needs to rest, depression will put you on your butt and get you into bed and get you to sleep and get you rest. It's unhealthy. It's not the kind of rest that you need, but it does shut down. So when we look at it chemically, what we're trying to do chemically with depression is see the chemical that's relaxing us and change it. Instead of using depression to calm your brain chemically, we need to use other things to calm ourselves in routine. You know, so having a routine of relaxing in the morning and relaxing in the evening, you know, and being able to pair those things, you know, as a response to prevent depression. You know, also if you take depression medication either gives you energy or sedates you. So it's very important that you know which type of medication, you know, that you're taking. You know, so if you have depression and it gives you energy, you know, then the energy gets you going to be able to get up and do something, you know, to balance that part of your brain that needs the energy chemicals. You know, so when you have depression, you don't feel like getting up and you take some medication and it gives you energy, get up and do something. You know, and we talked about last week, take a pill, do a skill. You can do the same thing here with depression. Take a pill for depression, do a skill. You know, so when you take the pill for depression and you clean your kitchen, you know, or you sweep or you vacuum or you take a shower or, you know, you change your clothes or you prepare lunch or breakfast. You know, when you pair a skill to boost energy with the pill, now your brain is associating a response to depression that gives you energy. And then after you do the skill, then take some time to relax. So then the relaxation chemical from depression can now be filtered in with the relaxation chemical from meditation or yoga or prayer or reading or, you know, even just like maybe a walk, you know, something to get you relaxed. You know, so trying to find a balance and push out the depression with a healthy sedation, relaxation activity that's releasing those chemicals. If depression stays, it's going to take over, you know, and it's going to just continue to stay connected to the sources that drive depression, you know. And if your relaxation is not changed, then the depression becomes a very patternized, you know, daily habit. And it's not something that's healthy, and it's not something that you want to do. You don't want to be in that mode all the time, and it sucks, you know. So making the decision to be aware of your physical symptoms as they're building, be aware of your behaviors as depression is building, and addressing and attacking those two. And then understanding that when we disarm the meaning of depression and attack it physically, behaviorally, and chemically, we're going to have more success. You know, so chemically trying to get the makeup of your brain with healthy relaxation and healthy energy, you know, and the medication and the depression will give you balance. If you have depression and then you have a medication that gives you energy, like your brain is balanced, but that's not it. That's not the end. We don't want that balance to be the balance that we always have to create because it's not a natural healthy balance. We're being balanced with depression and you know, medication. So when you have the depression and medication, get a healthy source of energy with the cleaning, get a healthy source of relaxation for, you know, to balance the depression, and things will be a little bit more tolerable. Depression is never something you're going to get rid of 100%, you know, but if I feel depression at a 2 or a 3, I can manage and get through my day instead of my depression being at an 8, 9, or a 10 and it being so debilitating that I can't function, you know, and I can't even do the things that I know I need to do and that I can do. You know, so when you disarm the meaning of depression, and you attack depression physically, you attack depression behaviorally, and you attack depression chemically, you'll have more success. Keep fighting and don't give up the fight, because when you fight the good fight, then you're going to find a healthy way to balance your brain instead of giving up the fight and letting depression win.